welcome to another full moon report with me, Manda O'Brien, from Astrology Mystica, Mystical Astrology. This is going to be a very powerful full moon, as they all are in their own unique ways, but this one especially powerful because of the opposition to Pluto in Capricorn. So Cancer, this is a full moon in Cancer. It's going to be on February 1st at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time. So with any kind of opposition to Pluto, there's going to be a lot of energy in the mix here and a lot of opportunities for very deep transformation. So whatever placements you have in Cancer or in Capricorn, you're going to feel this very strongly and will have the opportunity to work with these energies, and that's what these reports are about. Being able to work with the energies and to understand the intelligence of the universe and how it is not accidental the way things are unfolding unless we're unaware of the harmony and the divine design that's operating. So thank you for joining me, Truth Seekers, with this True Sidereal Astrology, True Sky, 13 sign zodiac astrology, that is completely an accurate mirror of the natural sky. As always, if you would like to see which house this full moon will be happening in, which area of your life will be illuminated the most, you can go down below in the description and go to my website, to the free chart calculator, and then take a look and see which house Cancer occupies. It would also be useful to see which house Capricorn occupies, because that's the polarity that you'll be working with in your individual life. So the other thing is that, as with everything in the universe, there are cycles, and the planets move in cycles, and it's my understanding that it's moving in an upward spiral. And if you look at our galaxy, this makes sense, because at the center of our galaxy, where the constellation of Ophiuchus is located, the 13th sign, everything is spinning around this black hole at the center of our galaxy. So nothing is moving in circles, it's moving in spirals, because that's the way the energy of our galaxy is moving. And everything is connected to everything else. And this is what astrology, to me, shows, is the interconnection between everything. And that what's going on in the sky with the planets and the luminaries, those vibrations, that light, that frequency, that celestial music is reflecting and vibrating to us here on Earth, and affecting our consciousness, affecting our experience, our intuition, our creativity, and giving us the opportunity to grow and to find out who we are and why we're here. So to me, this lunar year began December 19th with the new moon in Ophiuchus, in the galactic center, very powerful and healing, transformational location. Then we had our next new moon was in January, towards the 18th of January, on the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn, bringing in new truths that we can then implement into our lives. So this full moon in Cancer is the halfway point of that new moon cycle that began on January 18th. And so now the energy of the lunar cycle is reaching its climax, its most powerful point. It's been building since January 18th. And at this point on February 1st, with this full moon being in Cancer, the energies now are culminating and being illuminated in the constellation of Cancer. And Cancer has to do with the archetype of the mother, the family, the home. It's also connected with past lives and strong intuitive skills and inclinations. It's a very sensitive, artistic, nurturing sign. And with this opposition to Pluto, there may be deep revelations in all these areas of our lives. There may be deep experience showing up for us in these areas of our life in order for us to transform whatever is ready to die and be reborn in ourselves and also in our physical, practical life, because Capricorn is a very physical earth sign, practical sign. But the positive is that Capricorn also gives a lot of stamina, a lot of patience in a step-by-step process. And this can give us grounding and strength and the understanding that we are in a flow, a process. Being human is really a process. Discovering who we are and why we're here. The mystery, going deeper and deeper on the adventure into the mystery of every moment is really what we're all experiencing. So as this full moon culminates, just being aware of what is coming to your consciousness in relation to the archetypes that I spoke about. And if you do know which house Cancer occupies, being aware of what those themes also are for you. Because we are heading into eclipse season, and we will have our first eclipse. It'll be a solar eclipse in Aquarius around February 17th. And this will also be happening around the same time that Saturn and Neptune are making their conjunction in Pisces. So I'll be doing more reports on these eclipses that will be coming up February 17th and also again on March 3rd. But for now, there's a connection between whatever's coming up for you, whatever your awareness is being brought to, whatever issues you're facing, whatever transformational process you're in. With this Cancer full moon, for me, I see it as a preparation for eclipse season and just sort of bringing more awareness, becoming more conscious of the process that we are in individually in our lives, and using this astrological information for transformation. Okay, so let's take a look at this chart. As I'm looking at this chart, I can see that there's a lot of a lineup here in Capricorn. So let's just start by an overview of where everybody is. So we have the Sun in Capricorn, we have Venus in Capricorn, Mercury in Capricorn, very close to each other. We also have Mars in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn. Then moving around towards the left of the chart, we have the North Node in Aquarius, Saturn and Neptune very close together in Pisces, 1 degree apart. We have Chiron, the planet of the wounded healer, in Pisces, and Uranus in Taurus, retrograde, but he will be stationing direct on February 3rd. And then going down, we have Jupiter in Gemini, retrograde, and Jupiter will be going direct around the 11th of March. And then down below, we have the full moon there in Cancer and the South Node in Leo. So there's a lot of very earthy energy coming in with this full moon, which I think is a blessing, actually, because we're just coming out of a lot of fire and a lot of creativity and a lot of revelation, and having all this grounding, earthy energy can be very helpful after a transit. So this new moon in Sagittarius was basically a fire moon and brought in a lot of fire. So now we're bringing in the earth with the local planets, and we've got Pluto there, the Grand Master of the orchestra, adding a layer of depth and grounding depth and being able to dig deep into things. We also may see in the world revelations around digging deep, meaning archaeological revelations coming in with this Pluto transit in Capricorn, which will last about 17 years. So for this full moon, though, in preparation for eclipse season, what I'm seeing here is that we have all these oppositions that the moon is making to Mercury, Venus, Mars, and the Sun, and Pluto. So that's a lot of energy that the moon is reflecting, because the full moon, the reason it is a full moon is because it's reflecting perfectly the light of the sun, the full illumination of the sun. So it's also reflecting all these other energies in Capricorn here. So there could be a lot going on practically around this full moon. And it's a great time to slow down and take your time and to see the process that you're in with the illumination of this moon, and to tread sensitively, to have receptivity, to be in a more receptive mode of all of this energy that's being reflected, and to be aware of what you're feeling, what's going on in the mind, what you're feeling inspired and called to action, and the deeper layers that are going on underneath. We have a lot of support between Uranus, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. So this is really nice. The outer planets are really in a very supportive arrangement with each other in earth and water signs, Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces, Uranus being in Taurus, and Pluto being in Capricorn. So that's very supportive for building a new foundation, and not just externally but internally. Maybe completing and ending, bringing things to an end that may have caused you suffering, ways of looking at things. Because in truth, my experience is in any given moment, it's our choice whether we accept reality as it is and go with the flow and find what's working and find our happiness in the moment, or we can just see what's wrong, what's missing, what's problematic, and choose to be miserable. And this is a freedom that we all have. This is the freedom that we're given when we come into this world. And it's a great thing when you can catch the mind going into the past and bringing in misery into the experience. You can catch it, let go of the past, come back into the moment, and choose to feel good, choose to be happy, no matter what's going on. This is a freedom that we have as human beings. And this is something I feel this full moon will be illuminating, that whatever energies we find ourselves occupied with, we do have the freedom to transform Pluto, to shift, to ground, and to come into our own authenticity and power in terms of our interpretation and where we choose to exist consciously in response to what's going on internally or externally. So I feel that's the support here with Uranus, the great awakener, the liberator, in Taurus, just giving us that support. And then we have Jupiter down there in Gemini, still expanding our awareness and expanding our consciousness of duality and giving us the opportunity to come into more oneness with ourselves and with others and in our practical daily life, to be able to trust more and go with the flow and know that even though things may appear challenging, we exist in the unknown. Life is an adventure into the unknown. That's what we're here. That's what our existence is about. And so when you can make friends with the unknown, and when you can understand that we exist in the unknown, that human beings are on an adventure, a great adventure into the unknown. And the beauty of that is that even what happens and what shows up, even things that we couldn't imagine that happen in our lives, most of the most incredible, most beautiful gifts that come into our lives, they're not things that we did. They're things that showed up, that happened, and that this is the way life works. And if we can come into alignment, and that's what I feel this moon is saying, to come into alignment with life and to recognize our own responsibility, that we have a choice in any given moment, no matter what's going on, to trust life and to find what's working and to accept the challenges that we face and to accept reality as it is, or we can fight and resist and cause our own suffering and cause suffering for others. This is what Jupiter and Gemini, I feel, is giving us the opportunity to have a deeper level of mastery with. So all in all, very powerful transformational full moon. And with Chiron up there in Pisces, who just went direct at the beginning of January, we're going to see healing. It may not, full moons are kind of a pinnacle, so the intensity level can be high. But as the energy moves forward from this full moon, we're going to feel the healing effects of whatever process we've been in, whatever intensity we've been facing, internally or externally, or both. And we'll be heading towards eclipse season, where the universe steps in and it supports us and helps us in releasing the past, in releasing old patterns, in releasing things that are no longer true for us, that are no longer serving us. And all the inner work that we've been doing, especially since the beginning of this lunar year in December, when the moon was at the galactic center and the sun, is starting then to move forward. And we'll start to see, as we move through eclipse season, shifts and changes happening. And we'll have the choice to trust life and go with it, or to fight and resist, and to have a deeper level of mastery over that dynamic, that we can consciously choose to come into a perception of oneness. We do not have to continually exist in duality. We do not have to fight with life. We can let go of the past in every moment and be empty and face the unknown from a place of love and grounding and awareness and compassion. And that's what I feel, this new energy that's coming in as we build towards this Saturn-Neptune conjunction on February 15th, and then head into eclipse season on February 17th, which this eclipse will be in Aquarius. So it is about the bigger picture of our own experience and of our role as a part of the whole in what we're going to be contributing and sharing after going through this eclipse process and seeing what has been removed and what has been brought in, what new energy is coming into our experience. If you feel an astrology reading would be helpful for you in navigating these next couple of months, please go to my website, cosmicmystics.club, and you can see there the readings that I offer. And they can be very helpful and supportive, especially in times of change and transition. And I look forward to coming back with you soon for the next chapter. So that's it for now. Thank you for joining me as always. Thank you for subscribing and for liking and for commenting. I love hearing the comments, love hearing your experiences. And I will be back with the eclipse season report and sending lots of love out to whoever's listening to this, wherever you are right now.